Kansai, I'm Krisan Achkate. Welcome to APTN National News Daytime on this Tuesday. The inquest looking into Aisha Hudson's death, a teenager from Barons River First Nation, continues in Winnipeg this week. APTN's Julia Ross reports.
Testifying as witness Monday was Constable Gayton Boschman, who says he was in the police cruiser that prevented Aisha Hudson's vehicle from continuing forward after a pursuit. Hudson's car had swerved into oncoming traffic, and when moving back to her original lane of traffic, she had a collision with a Ford F-150. A video shown in court showed Hudson reversing after the collision, where she was shot twice by Constable Kyle Pradnuk. Last week, 5 officers from the Winnipeg Police Service testified as witnesses, sharing a similar recollection of April 8, 2020. Constables took to the stand to say that Aisha Hudson had been the driver when her friends robbed a liquor mart and threatened to stab a security guard. Hudson was then in a cul-de-sac in Sage Creek and rammed a police car, which in court was revealed to have no damage. Each officer has testified that ramming is police lingo, meaning a car is being used with force and is willing to take risks to avoid police, and is not an indicator of the damage done. A pursuit then took place due to Hudson ramming Sergeant Drager's police car. When Constable Boschman was asked what could be done to prevent similar tragedies from happening in the future, he stated that air support would have been helpful if they had been available. Air support had been requested on the night of April 8th, but was unavailable. Air support would allow for observation from the sky, allowing for cruisers on the ground to fall back so that the driver takes less risks when fleeing. Hudson's family has been attending the inquest each day, and the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs has requested that the family be given space during this time. Hudson's dad has been taking to TikTok to ask for support and for justice for Aisha. He suggests that body cameras be used for officers instead of air support, which was suggested by police. Julia Ross, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Today marks exactly 1 month since a Northern Ontario family was evacuated from their First Nation because of a water contamination crisis. It's uprooted their entire lives, and the newest member of the family hasn't even been home yet. CTV's Adrian Gabriel met with the family and brings us this report.
That's where I live.
Evacuated on January 10th, this Kingston, Ontario hotel room is now the Stephen family's temporary home.
There's not enough room for us or for the baby.
On January 25th, little Axelson was born 1 month early. The family are also navigating the special needs of their older children. 12-year-old AJ is on the autism spectrum. His 3-year-old sister, Shirley Ann, is also on the spectrum and has been diagnosed with ADHD. There's also 2-year-old Bryce.
They're really out of their comfort zone, especially my son that's 12 years old. Doesn't go to bed, he doesn't feel safe.
Saskatchewan First Nation is located on a floodplain on the west side of James Bay in northern Ontario. On January 4th, a state of emergency was declared there amid concerns that sewage was seeping through taps into homes, contaminating drinking water. 2 weeks ago, test results revealed a parasite known as Cryptosporidium was found in water samples and is likely the cause of dozens of people becoming ill.
She got sick, yes. She got sick.
Contaminated drinking water has plagued this community for decades. In 2005, residents were forced to evacuate. CTV News was in Saskatchewan then and found multiple children with rashes believed to be brought on by water contamination. More than 20 years later, children are still believed to be suffering. Just days before this latest water crisis was declared, a similar rash broke out all over the body of 2-year-old Bryce Stephen. For decades, Indigenous leaders have asked the federal government to help relocate this community from the water plain it resides on. They're still waiting.
I hope the government sees this. I hope they all see.
A statement in part from Indigenous Services Canada says planning for the relocation of Saskatchewan First Nation continues under an agreement that dates back to 2019. For these children, yet another evacuation has left the village that used to help raise them, scattered in hotel rooms across the province, with no clear timeline for when they'll find their way home. Some we've spoken with say they're triggered every time they turn on the tap. Following decades of trauma, they don't trust the water. Not here, not in Saskatchewan, not anywhere. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Kingston, Ontario.
A Cree Nation from northern Manitoba is in federal court this week regarding the long-term impacts of flooding and hydro development. The Opaskwayak Cree Nation's case focuses on flooding and forebay impacts from the Grand Rapids generating station. It was Manitoba Hydro's first northern hydroelectric project built in the 1960s. It's located about 145 kilometers southeast of Opaskwayak. The trial opened on Monday with a traditional drum ceremony inside the courthouse in downtown Winnipeg. On the stand will be Opaskwayak hunters and trappers who remembered when the dam was built, historians, economists, and both environmental and natural resource experts. Closing arguments are scheduled for mid-May, and the hearings are expected to last into the coming weeks. Opaskwayak leaders say the case is relatable to many Indigenous communities across the country that face legacy way of life impacts from hydro development and other major infrastructure projects. Meanwhile, another group is answering Manitoba Hydro's call to help expand wind power generation. The economic development arm of Minnegozibi Anishinaabe says it's submitted a request for qualified participants to the Crown Corporation. It's hoping to create a 200 megawatt wind energy project somewhere in southern Manitoba. Chief Derek Niepenak says about a dozen wind power companies around the world have been interviewed, and the group is zeroing in on two of it who could potentially partner with. The chief says the cost could be upwards of $600 million.
It's a pretty big investment. It would be by far the biggest investment that we've made as a community, but we're not doing this for ourselves today. We're doing this for the next generation and the generation after that. Our children need to feel that their future is being protected and it's being supported by the leaders of today. And we're doing that by participating in this sustainable energy project.
Chief Niepenak expects to have more details ironed out by this summer. This comes after the Crown utility put out a call last year for Indigenous majority-owned wind power to help meet growing energy needs. The Manitoba Métis Federation is also working on plans for a 200 megawatt wind energy project. Building economic opportunity and trade relations in the north was all the buzz in Winnipeg this weekend as hundreds of political and business leaders gathered to envision the shared future of Manitoba and Nunavut. Northern Perspectives 2026 saw cabinet ministers, parliamentarians, and Indigenous leaders from Manitoba and Nunavut share their perspectives on what next steps are needed to build stronger economies in the north. The four-day conference put partnerships around infrastructure research and business opportunities in the spotlight. These discussions inevitably led to the U.S. president's threats to annex Greenland and the need for more security in northern Canada. Member of Parliament for Nunavut and Lori Idlaut said that's why focusing on trade is so important right now.
That really reassured me, and knowing that there are systems that exist that are entrenched between the United States and Canada, that threat is not as scary as it sounds. It's really just political games where I think at this point it's okay to say that we just need to wait him out. We just need to wait his term out. As we continue to see how unstable he is, that focuses us to diversify our trade relations and any other relationships that we have so that the Americans don't have such a stronghold on Canada's system.
The Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, or CNSC, is in Saskatoon to consider approval of NextGen's Rook I uranium project. Northern Indigenous communities and residents will have the opportunity to share their views on the proposed mine. APTN video journalist Rachel May was at day one of the hearings.
Uranium company NextGen is seeking approval for a new mine in the southwestern Athabasca Basin, about 800 kilometers from Saskatoon. Candice Salmon is the Commission Registrar for the CNSC.
So the Commission will hear from everyone, and in the end it will make a determination as to whether the duty to consult is triggered, and if it is, what accommodations need to be there, and it will make that decision relative to every nation.
If approved, the mine would process up to 1,400 tons of ore per day. Salmon says the CNSC is focused on ensuring all voices are heard and that environmental safety is prioritized.
We know that there's a history in Northern Saskatchewan in particular of there being issues prior to the CNSC's existence, but we have an over 75-year track record of keeping people and the environment safe, and we're very confident in how we do that.
According to the CNSC, 48 interventions are scheduled for this week's hearings. Many people from northern communities traveled to Saskatoon to speak, including Doris Athengaye White Deer of Fond du Lac Denisoulene First Nation.
I'm so against it because right now on my trap line, they're killing my medicine and my water, my animals. Back in the day where I used to go up the stream, up the river, collect all this medicine, oh, it was good. And now, today, now they're gonna kill it from me, from my land, my water.
White Deer says that she is worried about increased pollution in the Athabasca Basin and the impact on hunting and fishing.
I can't even go eat out of the fish, out of the lake. I can't do that.
The hearing concludes February 12th and is open to the public at the Delta Hotels, Saskatoon, downtown. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
A First Nation in BC is calling for Ottawa to introduce a modern treaty commissioner. We'll tell you why when we return. Thanks for staying with us. Indigenous leaders were in Ottawa on Monday to call on all parties to pass Bill C-10, an act that would create a federal modern treaty commissioner. With more, here's APTN's Fraser Needham.
At a morning press conference, Hayat First Nations Chief Counsellor John Jack was there from the West Coast. He outlined why a modern treaty commissioner is needed.
Rather than creating more bureaucratic delays by having a patchwork of policies, a modern treaty commissioner would be an independent agent of Parliament. C10 offers a path forward for Canada by ensuring that modern treaties are implemented as they were intended.
Bill C10 was also up for debate on Monday in the House of Commons as part of its second reading. Conservative MP Rhonda Kirkland said the act would create another needless level of bureaucracy with no accountability.
In truth, it creates another office to point out the same shortcomings we have known about for years. The Auditor General has already flagged them. Indigenous leaders have already flagged them. Treaty partners have already flagged them. The problem is not a shortage of oversight. The problem is a shortage of execution.
But Minister of Indigenous Services Mandy Galmasti argued the legislation was co-developed with First Nations.
This law has come at the request of the nations themselves, who wish to work closely with Parliament itself and to be able to report to Parliament itself.
The bill finished second reading Monday afternoon and will now be referred to the Standing Committee on Indigenous Affairs for study. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
The future of the Inuit Child First Initiative, or ICFI, came up in the House of Commons during question period on Monday. The program ensures Inuit children are able to access health, education, and social supports and services. NDP MP Laurie Idlout said stakeholders have been waiting for direction on the future of the program since last spring's election. Idlout asked, when will the government make an announcement on ICFI? Indigenous Services Minister Mandy Galmasti provided the answer.
The Honourable Member for Nunavut.
The year before the election, Liberals planned to cut the Inuit Child First Initiative. When Inuit heard this, they spoke up by the thousands. Under Nunavut's pressure, Liberals promised to extend the program. Since being elected, the Minister for Indigenous Services promised an announcement on ICFI. 9 months later, far too many Inuit children are still being kept below poverty level. Still no announcement. Will the minister finally act to help Inuit children, or should they feed themselves on her promises?
The Honourable Minister for Indigenous Services.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my colleague for, being really consistent with representing her members. The message has really been clear for me that we need to respond. That's why we've been working with our partners to look forward to see what the next step is going to be. I'm sure that you will be pleased to see what that is going to be. I am going to look forward to what the message is going to be when it comes out very briefly. Thank you.
We now want to tell you about this week's new web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, is your community dealing with contaminants from industry or government? This is regarding our latest APTN Investigates episode from over the weekend. You can answer yes, no, or unsure. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca/poll to have your say. Rhonda Head, a classical opera music singer from Opaskwayak Cree Nation, is our next guest on the show. That interview right after the break. Willallen for staying with us. Charlottetown -3, Halifax sunny and +1. Cartwright -1, the Grand River -11. Saguenay -15, Quebec City sunny and -12. Toronto 0, Peterborough -3. -9 in Sudbury, Elliott Lake cloudy and -2. Clear skies in Churchill at -22, Thompson -15. -9 in Winnipeg, Gimli rain and -9. Saskatoon -9, Regina -4. Uranium City -19, -12 in La Ronge. -4 in high level, Fort Chipewyan sunny and -9. Lethbridge +9, Calgary +7. +6 in Victoria, Vancouver +7. -1 in Fort Nelson, Smithers 4. -31 in Old Crow, -12 in Mayo. -19 in Yellowknife, Wrigley -22. Sax Harbor -44, Polituck -42. -18 in Whale Cove, Chesterfield -18. And Arctic Bay -30, Resolute -30 as well. Our next guest is a multi-award winning and internationally renowned classical opera musical singer and songwriter and author from the Opaskwayak Cree Nation in northern Manitoba. Rhonda Head has been singing since the 1980s when she first started to learn how to sing opera music in Italian, Latin, English, and German. It wasn't long before she decided to incorporate her own Cree language in her music. In 2000, Rhonda performed Canada's national anthem in her home First Nation at a local hockey game. The public applause and reaction from that evening sparked Rhonda to go further with her music. Since then, she has taken Cree hymns and traditional songs and intertwined them with classical music. She has released more than 4 albums, including the album One Ska in 2023. She is also a 14-time International Music Award winner, with more awards on the way. We recently spoke with Rhonda Head in studio. Here's that interview. Rhonda Head, thank you so much for speaking with us. First off, I want to congratulate you for your recent book, Mezzo-Soprano, Memoirs of a Res Girl. I saw that the book just received an award from Paris, France. Tell us about this award and the book you wrote.
Well, I'm excited to have this award from Paris. You know, my book is getting internationally known. I wrote a book a few years ago about my life to that point of when I left off. So I'm planning to write a second edition, probably by the end of the year. I'll probably have it done. But it's really exciting to see my writing and my book getting acknowledged.
That's great. That's awesome. You also received the World Entertainment Award for Best Indigenous Artist, another award to add to your collection. Congratulations again. Can you tell us why you wanted to mix classical opera music with your Cree language?
Yeah, the award was, they just added the Indigenous category, so I'm really appreciative to the organizers for doing that. And winning the award, it means a lot to me. I collaborated with Murray Porter on his song, Baby You're My Good Thing. And he was really ecstatic when he found out that I say we won it because he wrote the song and I made my own rendition of it. But it's really important for me to sing, like I love classical music, and I found out that when I first started getting into classical music, I was singing Italian and Latin and French, and I kind of put a hold on it. I'm like, wait a minute, I need to learn my own language. So I put a spin on the Cree language with an Italian opera, and all the words fit exactly the same. So I always say that Cree language is also a language of love.
I love that. That's awesome. You also just got back from the Grammys over the weekend. What was that whole experience like, and which famous people did you get to meet, and what was your favorite part of the Grammys?
Yeah, I just got back and I needed 2 days to recover. It was so tiring. I went to like 9 different pre-Grammy party. There was so much fun, and just being around other artists, we create a really beautiful energy, and it's inspiring. And I met a lot of the Grammy nominees and some past Grammy winners. They hosted a lot of parties that they invited me to attend, and it's such a wonderful community to belong to. They want to meet you there. There's no cliques of circles where they're like only certain people could be part of. I'm part of that. They embraced me, my skin color, my Cree accent. I'm part of the Grammy family. It's such a wonderful community to be part of.
Oh man, that's so cool. You've released a number of albums, you're an author, you're always busy on the road. Rhonda, what's next for you this year and into the summer?
I have two major projects going on. I just came from the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. I'm taking my youth choir, they're all 13 years of age and under. We're going to Italy to a choir festival. So we fly into Rome, and the concert's like two hours away from Italy, and there's 14 performances we got to do. We're going to be singing in the Cree language and Ojibwe language, so we'll be sharing our language around the world. The other initiative I'm doing is I'm going to Belize in April, and I'm going to do a fundraiser there to help the people in San Mateo, Belize, and San Pedro. It's the poor part of the island, and we're fundraising for their school fees to go to school. Last year we raised enough money to send 14 kids to go to school, and when I was there recently and I got to meet some of the kids, and some of their aspirations are to be a local guide, soccer player, a police officer, and a doctor. So I'm really excited to be helping those kids out, and this fundraiser that I'm going to be doing it annually, because I want the kids that we're putting in school to keep going to school.
Sounds like two very important trips and such a great opportunity for those youth. Finally, Rhonda, what words of wisdom do you have for those who know they have a gift from the Creator but don't know where to start?
One of the things I like to tell people is follow your heart before your mind changes it. And study whatever genre or whatever field you want to go into. Like, follow your heart, whatever you love. It won't feel like work. You'll love what you do, and just keep going for it.
Great words of advice and wisdom. I love that. That's how I kind of follow my life as well. I never work a day in my life. Rhonda Head, thank you so much for being here, and please come back again on the show.
Thank you for having me. Like I said.
And that's all the time we have for APTN National News Daytime. Dennis Ward is back for your evening newscast. Please join us then. Miigwech, masicho, hi hi. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again. Ekose.